Dial M for Murder was a 1954 Alfred Hitchcock classic. It stars Grace Kelly, Ray Milland, Robert Cummings, and Anthony Dawson, as well as John Williams. Not to be confused with the John Williams, the greatest composer ever, but rather John Williams, the actor, who seems to surface from time to time in some of these Alfred Hitchcock films. So the plot is basically this, that Ray Milland, I hope I'm saying his name right, he's this kind of uptight British guy, kind of has a Cary Grant vibe to him. Well, he's kind of observed that his wife has not always been completely faithful to him. And due to, I guess, their insurance plan and his scheme to make some money, he plots to find a way to have her killed. And he goes through a very elaborate step. He's not like a sloppy execution or anything, but he finds this other guy. It's this Anthony Dawson guy. He's kind of creepy, sunken face with a mustache, and basically sets him up with this proposition of how he can do this crime and get away with it. And all the while he's covering all his bases, wiping away fingerprints, making a viable alibi so he can get away with the perfect murder. So, and poor Grace Kelly, she has no idea what's coming. And, well, as often happens in films like this, even though there's the super mastermind who has thought up the perfect murder scheme, it doesn't go perfectly. So there's the evening comes, and this Ray Milland goes off, and he's hanging out with some of his friends for his alibi, and Grace Kelly's home alone. And that's when the killer shows up. Anthony Dawson gets there and tries to strangle her to death. Well, the murder doesn't go off without a hitch, and she manages to grab a pair of scissors and jabs the guy in the back. And then he does the thing, falls over, and then embeds the scissors far enough into his chest that he dies. So this all takes place kind of early-ish in the film. And it's shortly after, the police have been there to investigate, that the detective, John Williams, shows up. Again, not the composer, John Williams, the British actor. And, what I really liked about this film is that leading up to this point, this Ray Milland character, the creepy, murderous husband, he's kind of got this kind of smiling, cocky attitude, kind of the Cary Grant, happy-go-lucky. But as this investigator, John Williams, starts digging into the case more and more and more, you see that kind of starts to fade away. He gets a little more chilly as he realizes his scheme is not working out quite how he wanted it to. So, and also there is this, the Robert Cummings character, the unfaithful, I guess you'd call him the boyfriend, the adulterer. He's kind of there too, and he's not exactly helping things because he suspects as well that there was a murder that took place that this Ray Milland planned. So all of these events are kind of culminating together, and you got to watch to see how it ends. I'm not going to give away any endings here, but it was very well made, and I love how early in the film, as this Ray Milland is talking with the assassin guy about how they're going to do the actual murder. You'll notice, Hitchcock will kind of position the camera in different ways. Like he'll have it at like the floor level, kind of filming up. It's kind of like we're observing from a distance. And then as the Ray Milland is describing where and how the murder will take place, the camera's actually up above looking down. And it's almost like we're looking down at the future crime scene. Neat little tricks like that. And I'm sure people could do much more detailed analyses of Hitchcock and his directing style. I'm just babbling about it because I watch it and I think, this is so cool. I just love films like this. These early Hitchcock films are just amazing to watch. So the suspense is there. It's very palpable. The music is great. And the acting by everybody in this film is just amazing. And I really like the John Williams. I'm not going to mention, he's not the composer, but I love how it's almost like this Columbo-like, aspect to him where, you can tell he's suspicious. So he kind of looks like he's about to leave, maybe in a certain scene, but then he comes back with a question or something else, or switches a coat. And he's on to this. He knows something fishy's going on. So all of the actors do great, and Ray Milland as the baddie, he does a great job. It's like an evil Cary Grant, basically. So dial M for Murder. And I don't know if I mentioned enough, Grace Kelly is wonderful in this film. She always just plays kind of this sweet and charming princess in the films that she's in. When she goes to the trial scene, I wanted to make a note of this. They have kind of a stylized trial scene where she's there looking at the camera, looking at the judge, looking here and there, and the colors are flashing in the background. For just a second, it reminded me of the Willy Wonka boat scene where you see Willy Wonka's face and there's no earthly way of knowing, and you know what I'm talking about. Well, if you watch the Grace Kelly scene, maybe you'll pick up on some of that Willy Wonka vibe, or maybe not. Maybe it's just me. But she's wonderful in this film as well, and I've enjoyed seeing her in some of the other Hitchcock films too, like To Catch a Thief, and of course the very classic Rear Window, and I hope to do a review of that one pretty soon. So anyhow, that's just me blabbing about another film that I really enjoyed, and if you have not seen Dial M for Murder, check it out. I think they did a remake of it with Michael Douglas maybe about 20 years ago. I remember seeing it, and it just did not have the same impact as the original. I think it's the tension and the Hitchcock, just the style in this film is what you got to see. So if you haven't seen it, go out and watch it.